So, simple one. I mean, are you expecting everyone to be ready for the start of the season Friday? Like who've been banged up a little bit?
Yeah, expecting, finally expecting them to have them all on court. Courtney will start for the first time tomorrow. So we'll have 2 days to hopefully integrate her and get her up to speed with the rest of them.
Thanks.
All right, Doug, you'll be followed by Jackie. Jackie, you're up. Jonathan is next. Jackie, go ahead.
Hi, Sandy. Good to see you. Thanks for taking the time with us here. I asked Eric Tebow this as well previously. So there have been a lot of roster cuts announced today across the league. And I'm just wondering, over the years you've been in this league coaching, how has it maybe gotten harder to make these decisions? And how has the talent pool maybe changed to make it harder?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think every year players, older players keep more experience. You got some new talented players coming in, and there's just not enough spots for everybody. So I think teams just have to make a decision on, what's going to fit their team at that time. And it's really nothing against that player. It's more about what positions that you need to fill out your roster. So some really good players, obviously, will be cut today, tomorrow, and leading into the first game.
All right, thank you, Jackie. We're going to turn to Jonathan. Jonathan, you're going to be followed by Miles. Jonathan, you're up.
Thanks, Ron. Hi, Sandy. Jonathan Tannenwald from the Philadelphia Inquirer. Taking a little bit of a bigger picture look at things, admittedly, and there's so much hype around this team, so much buzz around what you guys have put together, and it being New York, and how much pressure is there to deliver on it?
Yeah, look, I mean, of course, I think we've put a really good team. We've had a great off season, but on paper doesn't mean anything at the moment. And we haven't had much of a training camp, to be quite honest, with all our players, the big three that were coming in, and that's unfortunate, but it is what it is. So I think we'll just have to have patience early. But these players want to win. I think Vegas is. Washington, Connecticut, there's a lot of great talented teams out there. So we just got to focus on us just getting on the same page quickly. I think we've learned from, the first game in Vegas, we weren't so great, but we were quick learners. And that's the main thing with experienced players. It allows you to get to where you want to be, but we know we have to keep improving. It's not and peak at the right time, but yeah, I mean, pressure, but that's a healthy pressure. We all want to win.
Does it feel different thinking about what it could be like in Brooklyn on Sunday when you guys take the floor at home for the first time this year?
Yeah, look, it does. I think there's a buzz in the air here with our signings. I mean, these are some of the best players in the league. So I think we're creating obviously some interest in the Liberty. But look, I think we're just building on what we did at the end of last year. I think the last game, even though the result wasn't what we wanted against Chicago, it was a really great atmosphere in there. We had a lot of people there, and we just want to continue to build on that momentum and, pack out the stands and play really attractive basketball.
Thank you and good luck.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, excuse me, Jonathan. Miles, you're up. You're going to be followed by Nikias. Miles.
Hey, Sandy, great to talk to you. From the start of training camp, it looks like Kayla Thornton is a player who has been on your roster for years already, with just how comfortable she seems out there. How has she impacted both the younger players, but also some of the vets coming in and the existing talent on the team?
Yeah, look, I think Kayla plays one way. She just plays extremely hard. And I just think with that, the effort that she puts in at both ends of the floor is really what you need on any team. She's a player, even though she played a lot of minutes last year, didn't have a lot of high usage, but she's fine with that because she can be impactful in so many different areas. And that's what we'll need. I think her versatility will be the biggest thing for us. I mean, she'll play at the three, but yeah, she can play at the four as well too. And she's a great defender, great rebounder, and a great runner. So we'll just continue to build on that, and her getting a little bit more comfortable because she hasn't played a lot of three. So we're still working out, her being comfortable in that position as well.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Nikias. Brian, you're up. And just a reminder, folks, please use the raised hand function if you have a question for Sandy. Brian, go ahead.
Oh, I think Nikias is first, so he'll go first and I'll go after him.
I apologize, Nikias, go ahead.
Okay. Hi, Coach. How you doing?
How are you?
Doing pretty well. I think a lot of the hype surrounding like Liberty this year with this talent that you added was like how difficult you're going to be to guard when everyone is kind of in the lineup and fully going. How do you feel between the preseason and camp in general? How do you feel the group is coming along defensively?
Look, we had a lot of areas to continue to work on. I think it held us back a little bit because Stewie and JJ weren't in it a lot. So, experienced players, they understand the game when we're trying to do multiple actions. There's been some good moments and moments we continue to need to work on. But that's a part of it, training camp. It's a very short training camp, but when you have experienced players, you can progress it a little more freely. But we learn a lot. We weren't great against the Vegas game. We weren't great against Connecticut, but then Vegas when we added the 2 players. So stuff that we can work on. But then we had another scrimmage and we were way better. So it was more about they could make adjustments immediately. And that was really, that's what you expect from a team like this. But yeah, we're going to continue to grow. Like I said, training camp, we're going to have to use the first few weeks of the season for training camp purely because, obviously Stewie, JJ and Sluty haven't really been involved with us much. And it just takes time for them, not just them to get used to the other players, but those players to get used to them as well. And but as long as we just got to make sure we just try and get better and better every day.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nikias. We're going to go to Brian F, and you'll be followed by Brian H. Brian, go ahead.
Hi, Sandy. How are you?
Hey, Brian. Good.
Hey. So, I guess which player do you think really sort of stood out the most to you in the training camp session this year?
Sabrina, probably. She came in really healthy. Last year she sat out the first week and was struggling with the calf injury. I thought, she came in great shape. You see I think she looks quicker. Her shots got quicker. She's playing with a lot of confidence and her leadership's improved, the things that we asked her to work on. So she would probably be one. Other players had highlights here and there. So, but I think right now it'd be Sabrina.
And on a different note, over the weekend, the WNBA had their Canada game and had record-setting crowd. At the World Cup in Australia last fall, they set an attendance record for women's basketball. Just as someone who's been in the game for a really long time and has seen the game evolve over the years, just how exciting was it just sort of like see these moments take place? And where do you see women's basketball going from here?
Yeah, another great question there. I mean, you see that people want to watch our game, women's basketball, and to have 19,000 people at a game in Toronto, that's fantastic. So it shows that the interest is there. Obviously we talk, hopefully there'll be expansion so we can go into those other areas and continue to grow the game. It is a global game. You saw at the World Cup, just the amount of people that came to watch us just was fantastic because I think the more we're being shown on TV, it's going to continue to grow. The more that we can share all these wonderful players' experiences and stories, I think it becomes a more of a personal feel, and we got to keep growing the game. So we're on the right. I think we're heading in the right direction, and hopefully, teams can just fill out their arenas and just get the support that these teams and these women deserve.
All right, thank you, Brian. And we're going to turn to Brian Heyman. Brian, you're going to be followed by Ann Myers-Drysdale. Brian, go ahead.
Hi, Sandy. Just a quick question. When do you expect Johannes to join the group, and what do you think she'll bring?
Yeah, well, Marine, they won their second game. They had to win by 14, they won by 20, so they're in the finals starting tomorrow. So as soon as she's done, we expect her to arrive here, and we're excited about that. Marine's a key piece of this puzzle. I think you saw the unique flair and the style of game that she played last year really complements to the way that we want to play, and we've got obviously great posts around her. So she's when she comes back, she'll be in rotation purely because she's been here before and she's shown what she can give us, and we can't wait to have her back with the team.
Thank you.
Hey, Sandy, it's Annie.
Hey, Annie, how are you?
Good afternoon.
Yeah.
Good. Excited for you guys.
Yeah.
Wanted to ask about, the relationship in the backcourt. Sabrina handled the ball quite a bit last year, and this year you've got Courtney Sloot back there with you. And I'm sure it'll go back and forth depending on the game and so forth, but just the dynamics of the ball being in Sloot's hands a little bit more and what it frees up for Sabrina.
Yeah, look, to be quite honest, I think when we got better as a team last year when we could move Sabrina off the ball. Now, she would always move back to it, but when we brought Crystal Dangerfield in, it really took us to another level. And Crystal was a great addition for us because she's a little point guard. She had speed that we could actually use her on defense too. And we could get Sabrina more off the ball in her natural position, to be quite honest, but she's great with the ball, without. But now, Courtney, we're bringing one of the greatest point guards of all time. So I could take that pressure, that ball handling pressure off of her and initiate our offense, knowing that she's getting that second action. But, of course, they're going to share the load because it depends on how teams want to guard us. But it's a luxury that we had. And that's why people are probably surprised we're going for Courtney, but we knew that should be a perfect fit for Sabrina and to continue to help her development as well.
Thanks, Annie. We're going to turn to Jackie, and Zora is on deck. Jackie.
Hello again, Sandy. Just a couple more here. I just want to follow up on something you said. I think it was in response to Brian's question. You said that there were specific things that you all asked Sabrina to work on, and she came back, having proven she did. What specifically were some of those things?
Just working on her first step, just that speed and just increasing the range that she had and the speed of her shot. And I mean, she's a worker. If you know Sabrina, she's in the gym. She's trying to get better, but she was healthy this year. So it wasn't more about rehab. She could continue to work on the things in the right way, building up to a start of a season. So I think she looks quicker out there. She came with a little bit more pop in her step here. By being healthy, but then we also told her to work on being, her leadership, because, last year it took her, she was still trying to, find her way in the game, but I think she's proven to everyone how good she is. And we just asked her to take on a more leadership role, even with the players that we have coming in. And she's really done a fantastic job of that. You see her growing more and more in confidence.
I guess to follow up on that, how exactly, when you go into an off season, you tell someone we want you to work on your leadership skills, but she's not with the group. So I guess sort of how did she do that? Or from what you were able to see, how does it look like she did that when being away from everyone?
Well, that's just a mindset. Everyone's a leader. But it's knowing what to say and leading it through, even when you're having a bad day. They're the great leaders when you can continue to lead, because it's about us. It's not about I. We got to focus on what we need to do better as a group, and she's proven herself as a player. So it's just once coming in, it's like understands the game well, knows what we need, obviously knows what the coaches want, and can express that to the players. And it's more of a mindset. It's not something, it's just you're being prepared to do that when you do come back with the team.
For sure. Thank you.
Thanks, Jackie. Thanks, Sandy. Zora, you're up. As a reminder, if you have a question, please use the raised hand function. Zora, go ahead.
Coach, great to see you. A lot of talk about lack of continuity, and it's not just the Liberty, right? These teams don't play together year round. With your experience with the Opals and international basketball, what has worked for you over the years in bringing a group together quickly?
Yeah, don't have much time with the Opals either, but you try and when you do is like just stay true who you are. So you're not changing obviously your systems as much, so players can adapt to that. But it helps, the teams that are bringing back players from last year, that they'll have more continuity than the ones that have a lot more players coming into it. But depends on the experience of the team, to be quite honest. It's just learning to play with each other. But, the continuity is just repetition now, just time. It takes that time, but it's just, being detail oriented, but also giving them the freedom to work it out and communicate. And that helps when you have an experienced team.
And one follow-up for you, just on Epiphany Prince and her, being back in New York and how she's been through training camp.
She's been great. I've been really happy with her. She was a little sick at the start. She missed a few days at the start of camp, but didn't miss a beat when she came back. And I suppose, like I said, that when you're experienced, you've been in all these different situations. Piff knows what she does and does well, and she's had a really good camp for us. And I think you can never have too many playmakers, and that's what she is. She's smart. She can make passes, but she can also score.
All right. Thank you, Zora. We're going to go next to Nikias. Nikias, you're going to be followed by Kevin. Nikias.
All right, Nikias, thank you. To the front court of Sandy, between JJ and Stephanie Dolson and Han, and even Stu, who can play some five as well. A lot of versatility in that front court. I guess, how do you go about balancing maybe some double big looks versus going smaller with some of the wings that could also slide down to the four?
Yeah, look, I think it really becomes down to who we're playing. I mean, how do we think we can exploit the other opponent, but also defend them to the best of our ability? We can throw Kayla Thornton into the four. So there's a lot of versatility that we have. I think we just need some time to work it out, how it all fits together and who plays best together. And then obviously dictated by who we're playing, who's on the other team. How do we need to match up? You don't need to match them straight up, but we still need to make sure that we have an advantage with whatever way that we choose to go each game.
Thank you.
Kevin, you're up, and you're gonna be followed by Miles.
Hi, Coach. Kevin Lewis of the 9450. And to follow up with Nikias's question in regards to versatile bigs, more importantly, the importance of communication with Han Zhu. How impressed have you been with her communication coming into training camp and her improvement in her English, and how she's going to be able to communicate further on the court to help win some games this year?
Yeah, look, it is hard when, obviously English is not, your first or second language here, but I've been really happy. I think Han, I've even asked her in one of our end of game chats that in front of the group, she spoke all in English. So it was good. So she's trying to do that more and continues to learn. And, players are communicating well for her because we've asked her, just keep trying to keep talking English. But we try and make it as easy for her as possible with color schemes and basketball is global. So, certain things it's still in English wherever you are. So that doesn't really matter there. But, to be quite honest, Han, I suppose she's still like going back to China. It's a little slower league. She's still probably trying to catch up with the speed of the way that we're playing. So she's had an up and down camp here. She just needs time to get used to how quickly we do things, the physicality again. But I think you saw that at the start of last year. It's just a learning curve. So it's just continued to growing. And she's still a young player. But she is talented. She's just got to stay confident in what she does well.
Thank you.
Right, thank you. We're going to turn to Miles. Miles, you're up. You'll be followed by Jackie.
Hey again, Sandy. Probably better than anybody that free agency can go in a bunch of different directions. So how important was it to the franchise to lock up Sabrina with that 2-year extension yesterday, and that's not hanging over the team going into the season and then into the next offseason?
Yeah, you always want to, obviously Sabrina's a franchise player and you want to get him an extension so you don't have to go through uncertainty, especially when we've got, we got other players that are on, we've got 1 year left on their deal. So if we can secure that gives us, we can build in the right way. We want a sustainable, we want to make sure this is sustainable. So it's not just a one and done. That's how you try and can grow a team together, the more time you spend together. So Sabrina, we love Sabrina. Sabrina loves us. So I think it was a great combination that we could get that done. And Jonathan has done a great job. And as everyone knows, she's not protected, but she's not going anywhere because this is Sabrina.
Thanks a lot.
All right, thanks. Miles is going to be followed by Jackie and Dorothy. You're on deck, Jackie.
Yeah, when we were talking to Eric Thibault before you popped on, Sandy, we were talking sort of about the preparation that has to happen, against you all. And I'm just curious, since you've been in this league for a while, how do you make sure to sort of reinvent the wheel to make sure that, opponents that know you and sort of what you do are on their toes?
Yeah, look, I think once you get into the league, everyone knows everyone. so there's no secrets. Even Eric's still taken over, from Mike. So, plays are mostly the same. it's just trying to come up with plans. We got to still stop them. They're a very talented team and they're tough defensively and they have great continuity. So that's their advantage there. But for us, it's more about making sure that we can play in random stuff so we can be a little bit positionless. So that makes us a little harder to guard. But are we there yet? No. We need time because we haven't had anyone on court at the moment. So we just need time to continue to grow that and what it needs to look at. But then being able to make adjustments quickly with how teams want to defend us and exploit that to the best of our ability. And then it just comes down who plays best on the day when you got two really good teams and, you know, not about defense too, but putting the ball in the hole.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to turn to Dorothy. Dorothy, you're going to be followed by Brian. Dorothy.
Hi, Coach. Thanks for your time on today. I wanted to just shift gears for a second and ask you about Brittany Griner's return. What does that mean to you specifically, having coached her? And then for the league, what does that mean for her to be returning to play?
Yeah, I mean, you know, Brittany's like really part of my family. And so it was very emotional when I knew that she was coming back. I was emotional the whole time she was away. Probably still is a little bit. So, I mean, she means so much to me and so many people, having coached her for so long. And but I'm just happy that she's back and she's doing great, you know, as great as we could ask her to be. And that she, you know, she's still back on court. I think we should be celebrating her return there. And she's a wonderful player, but she's an even better person. And she's certainly going to be an advocate for, you know, trying to get other wrongfully detained, you know, prisoners back home as well. And, you know, like I said, I'm just happy. I can't wait. Haven't seen her in person. I've spoken to her, but I can't wait to give her a big hug when I do see her.
All right, thank you. We're going to turn now to Brian F. And Brian, you're going to be followed by Jonathan. Brian.
All right, thank you, Ron. Hey, Sandy. Last year you talked a lot about attacking the basket and getting 2 feet in the paint. With having Stewie and JJ and also be back fully healthy, just how important is it for you guys to sort of stay attacking the basket, trying to get as big points in the paint as possible?
Yeah, look, I think, you know, we're going to shoot a lot of threes. I think you know that. You know, but you also need to create those open threes, and that's what it needs, the penetration. I think, you know, you can miss shots from outside if you just settle in for that. So we need to have an aggressive mentality, but still maintaining space around the ball, but finding opportunities where we can get to the rim, whether it's a finish at the rim or if it's a paint to grape for you know, pass out to a 3-point shot. So we're still working on that kind of chemistry because like we haven't had the players that are on the court, but I'm excited to have, you know, Courtney back on the court tomorrow and to see how that all works around too and continue to grow. Like I said, we're going to be building up these first few weeks, but I think there's a, you know, huge potential for what the kind of team that we can be.
All right, we're going to turn to Jonathan. Jonathan,
Thanks. Thanks, Ron. Sandy, the question about Brittany Griner that just came up caused me to think of this one to ask you. You know, there's been a lot of discussion about what security measures, other enhancements of many things may need to happen around the league this year with Griner and her, excuse me, in her travels and so on. And obviously, a lot of those things are probably things that everybody in the league could benefit from in the long run. What do you think needs to happen in that regard, and what would you like to see?
Yeah. Okay. Put me on the spot there, Jonathan, haven't you? Yeah. You know, I think other than the obvious, but I think most teams are going to travel with a security person, and we should. I mean, these are household name people. We're traveling commercial, and we're around a lot more people. So, I mean, having the security person travel with us, and you know, I know the playoffs, we're getting charters. That's certainly going to help as well too. But you know, we just got to make sure that we're protecting all these players because. And keeping them safe so that we can get on court and have a great product.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. We have time for about 1 or 2 more questions. We're going to switch now to Jackie.
Sandy, I just wanted to get some clarification on your answer to Jonathan just now. So does that mean that for every team, not just the Mercury, there's going to be a security detail with the different franchises in the league? Is that what you're referring to there?
Yeah, we have a security person now that travels with us.
And is that new?
That's new.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
All right, we're gonna go to Nikias. Nikias, you're up.
All right. Hi, Coach. As someone who's coached in the league for a while, I would assume that you come in with like your core tenets of like what you want to run and how you want to go about the game. But there's also a level of evolution that comes with coaching as you go. What would you say has been your biggest evolution as a coach throughout your career?
Oh, well, I mean, so much, I suppose. If you look back, this is probably my 18th year coaching. So when you first begin, you just continue learning. As a player, I was always a student of the game, and I'm no different as a coach. I watch a lot of basketball. I steal a lot of ideas from the NBA. I'm talking to NBA coaches, but in the end, it's more about trying to put our players in the best position to have the best success. And sometimes that's a bit of a molding and adapting. So I'm not like, just, is this how we're going to do it? I'm going to play to the strengths of the players and then just put them in positions, but then making it, how can we, there's 5 players and making sure everyone's doing their job at the same level so that we can have great success. But I think, even Europe, just there's so much innovation in the game and how things, continue to evolve. And that's, for me as a coach, that's what I continue to do as well too. I don't get stuck on what I did, 15 years ago. It's like, how can I be better now? And that could be in all aspects, not just on the court. I mean, I always want to be, how can I be a better leader? How can I get more out of these players, to motivate? So I'm continuing to grow. I'm in a leadership group in the off season, and I chat to other head coaches from all over the world, and we share ideas. So I really, just trying to continue to grow, just like the players are.
Got you. And if I can ask a quick follow-up, league-wide, what do you think the next evolution of the W is going to be? Do you think it's going to be more playmaking wings? Does it become a more guard?
Yeah, you cut out there, but I think, you said about what's our next evolution. Yeah, I think you cut out a little bit, but I think the next evolution, I mean, we're going to continue to expand, aren't we? I mean, that's the next evolution of this league, and continue to grow that every game is on national TV and stuff like that. So we're creating more of a buzz. And then on the court, you just see the versatility of the players. You got big 5 shooting threes, their abilities, just how crafty they are with the ball. And that's, I think, the difference from when I played to what they do now, just their ability to learn and how the individual development is improving, not just them as players, but also our league with, creativity, because that's what it's about, isn't it? You want to give them the freedom to be creative on the offensive end. Defense is more about non-negotiables for me, but you got to play it hard, because that's just being committed to it on that end. But I like to see players show their flair.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. We have time for one last question. Stacy, go ahead.
Hello, Coach. Stacia Whitaker, ATP Sports Network. My question is, you just talked about evolution of the game. What city, because we saw how well Toronto went, what city would you like to see get a WNBA team back, since we've had some that haven't been successful? Which team would you like to see kind of get like remade, like Detroit or Miami from your playing days?
Yeah, Miami. That's easy. I love the beach. Yeah, that was my favorite place to play in. Fantastic. So yeah, Miami, I think, if anything. I mean, but it was great to see Toronto. But look, I think, Kathy and the WNBA will really focus on making it where's our strongest location that we know we can get the most support. And that's it. That's how we grow the game. Put it in the right spot where we have, on and off the court success. But I did love Miami.
Well, that makes sense. Thank you, Coach.
Thanks.
All right, thank you, Stacy. Thank you, Sandy, for your time.
Yeah,
Good luck.
appreciate it. Thank you.
Much appreciated. To our media, stay with us. We're going to be joined